This is J. Krishnamurti's first discussion with students at Brandeis University, 1968.
What do you mean? What do we mean by being alert? What does it mean to be aware? It's fairly easy, isn't it, to be aware of outward things, like the wind blowing those leaves down, seeing the color of the leaves and the color of the piled up dead leaves, the man going by. That's fairly easy, isn't it, to be aware of that. But to be inwardly aware, inwardly alert, is a much more, a little more delicate, little more urgent, little more, requires more intensity. So there is the outward awareness of things objectively, and inwardly there is an alertness or awareness of one's reactions to outward phenomena, and the observation of those reactions. That's part of this awareness, isn't it? And is there this division between the outer and the inner? What do you say? I observe the wind among those leaves and trees and the bare branches. I see them visually. And my reaction to them, the light on those leaves, the color of those leaves, the naked branches, there is a response to those. And is this division between the outer and inner necessary? Beg your pardon?
I don't quite see the distinction between the outer and the inner, because if it doesn't make some impression on your mind, some inner comment, then you're not really seeing it. You just open your eyes and everything is.
If you make inner comment, the inner comment is a response of another inner content, isn't it? Of a response of a background.
To me it seems the same thing, because if you don't have any inner impression, you're not seeing. You're just looking, but you're not seeing anything. Or the noise is just noise unless it has some meaning to it.
We will go into that presently in a minute, shall we? Because first we are trying to understand what we mean by awareness, what we mean by being alert. Not if it has an inner meaning or inner significance or not. First, we're trying to see actually what we mean by awareness, alertness. There is the outer and the inner, right? And the inner response to the outer. The inner response is the reaction to various memories, conditioning, various experiences, knowledge, right? I mean, that's obvious. I mean, no?
The inner reaction is that, but sometimes it seems as if there's a part of me that isn't reacting.
The whole of this is being aware, isn't it? Aware of the outer, aware of the inner, aware of the responses of the inner, aware of the responses which come from a background. All that is being aware, not just seeing a tree. My response to it, the meaning of my looking at it, the significance of my response to it, and the significance which is based on my conditioning, my pattern of thought, conduct, and so on. No? Isn't all this a state of a state of alertness? To be aware of the total thing, not just partly. Then if you penetrate a little further, I begin to discover the background from which these responses arise. No? These reactions of a particular conditioning. And that's still part of that alertness, awareness. I have been brought up as a Victorian, and when I see short skirts, I get a bit shock. That's
Is a conditioned response really aware? Are you really being aware when you elicit a conditioned response?
Beg pardon?
Or when a conditioned response is elicited? Are you really aware of what you are responding to?
I am, and I begin to penetrate.
But isn't it often something which just occurs? The response just occurs through conditioning, and you're not really aware of what you're seeing. Do you know what I mean? Like you being brought up as a Victorian would respond that way, and you wouldn't really be aware of why you were responding.
I'm doing it now.
You either would or wouldn't be aware. I'm wondering if you really would be aware if you just happen to be giving out responses to things.
We generally aren't aware, so obviously we generally aren't aware. I just respond, say, I don't like short skirts. How terrible or how beautiful or whatever it is. But when I begin to inquire a little more into it, I realize my conditioning, my education has been Victorian, and I respond according to my background.
Isn't it sort of like a series of eyes looking at the thing?
That's what we are doing. I began with the outer, I'm going further, further, further. Right? So all that is awareness, not just part of the tree, observing the tree, or my reaction and stopping there. Unless one goes very, very deeply, the whole of this is awareness.
That's sort of an infinite process.
Wait, we'll find out.
Isn't that responding,
That isn't stillness.
And you see, you get a previous idea. You have already an idea that one must be still. We're going to find out, sir. I want to find out what this awareness means, what its significance, its meaning, its depth and its shallowness, whatever it is. I want to find out. No? So I see this process. Outer, inner, the inner responding to the outer, and the response based on my conditioning, which might be Victorian, modern, or Hindu, Christian, whatever it is. And I realize all my responses are based on my condition, my previous experience, my background, right? Social, economic, religious, climate, food, clothes, all that's my background. No? So then I begin to ask myself, is it possible to be free of this background? Or is it inevitable that this background responds all the time?
It's possible.
I don't, you see, I don't know. You say it's possible, somebody says it's not possible. The communists say it's not possible. Therefore, as it's not possible, let us refurbish it, let us put a new conditioning that the society is the greatest thing, and Lenin and Marx are the greatest gods on earth, and that's the end. No? So one has to really not say it is possible or not possible. One has to do it, not theorize about it. So, I ask, is it possible to be free of the past? And why should one be free of the past? If the mind is not free of the past, with all its content, the past being experiences, knowledge, memories, inherited qualities and all that, the racial instinct, the whole past, then if there is no freedom from that, one is a slave forever. And therefore, if one is not free from it, there is no freedom of will. Obviously, there is no freedom of will. I don't know if you're following on. I may be rattling on.
That may be what will is made of.
Yes, of course.
There must be no will to be free.
That's just it.
Well, it seems to me that you've been discussing, or you wish to really get at the heart of what's practical for living. Well, I agree in concept.
Oh, no.
I agree in concept, but then when I question, well, practically, is it possible should we escape the past?
No, it's not should we escape. It is there. Whatever I think, whatever I do, whatever I look at, I'm translating everything in terms of the past. I'm not escaping from it.
Right.
So I say, by Joe, if I don't understand it and resolve this past, I'm a slave forever. Because then my whole living is just the past.
Is the idea then to be aware?
No, not the idea. We are discussing what it means to be aware. Step by step we have gone into it, right? And I see, by being aware of all this process, that unless there is a freedom from the past, the mind is always a slave to the past. It's a slave. It can't think anything new. That is, it can't perceive anything new. The mind can't be innocent.
But in the first lecture you said that the mind can't perceive anything new anyway.
Ah, wait. That's a later statement. You see, suppose you haven't heard anything what I said previously. Now we are inquiring learning. We are learning in examining whether the mind, which is the total past, conscious as well as the unconscious, is the total past, and whether the mind can ever free itself from that past, or otherwise the mind is living in a cage, in a prison. No?
Well, that's true.
So, wait, I've learned that. Not somebody hasn't told me. I've learned it. I've seen by observing the trees and so on, I've come to that point. Now I'm going to learn about this. I'm not going to come to any conclusion. I'm going to learn. And now, is it possible to be free? I don't say it is or it is not. Is it possible to be free of the past? If the mind is not, then I might live in a lovely prison.
Isn't asking that question an escape from?
No, I'm learning. How can I escape from it? I'm examining. Yes, sir.
Do you mean free in an absolutely unconditional sense?
Oh, obviously, otherwise there's no freedom. I can't be half and half.
Well, I have a very hard time understanding what that means. As though the mind were, for instance, a blank tablet.
No, I'm going to find out. I don't presume anything. I don't say, well, if I'm free, will it be blank, will it be this, will it be that? I don't know.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that I find it very hard to follow you because I don't have an idea of exactly what we're looking for.
No, sir. If I'm looking for something, and when I find it, I've already known it. Right?
But in some implicit sense, is that not true? Not explicitly or articulately.
Pardon?
You don't know it articulately.
But so I'll be able to articulate or not, but I'll find out. I refuse to accept any conclusion before I've really learned all about the whole structure. Otherwise I'll invent a lot of theories, conclusions based upon my like and dislike, and I'm where I started with. It's like those people who accept that there is a God and finished everything.
Well, may I add a thought then?
Oh, please, anything.
It seems to me that if you are to be a human being, that presupposes being something rather than something else. In other words, you have certain relations, just as to be a tree means to be not a rock or a hill or some other thing. But as soon as you say that, you have already precluded the possibility of absolute freedom. Because in your unqualified sense, what I think you mean is that you are, in some sense, nothing. Whereas to be something is, insofar as you are something, to be conditioned and not free.
So, as a human being, now, we are, as human beings, conditioned. We repeat what others have told us. We come to a conclusion, and from that conclusion work out. And that conclusion based upon our like and dislike, prejudice, knowledge, experience, our conditioning. And so we go round and round in a circle, looking somewhere for a whole which will have some meaning. But in that circle there is no meaning at all as we think there is. It's just walking around in a cage, in a trap. Right? So I say, I want to find out, I want to learn. If it is possible to break through this trap, this circle, I don't know what lies beyond it. If I say that lies beyond that, then it's a supposition, a theory. I must break through this. Then I will know what it is. Right? It's like Tayar Sada and all these theoreticians. They are basically Catholic, and they're being tied to a post. They wander off within the limits of their leash. And there is no freedom in that.
Sir, as long as you're wanting, craving, desiring to break through.
I'm asking, I'm learning, I'm not craving, I'm not longing, I don't know. I say, here is this. By being aware, I have discovered this. I have discovered that the mind lives in a vicious circle of its own making, right? And all the time trying to give meaning to this vicious circle, inventing new meanings. One year it is existentialism, next year it's Catholicism, super-Catholicism, or next year it's communism and super-communism, and so on, so on, so on. One has played this trick so much with oneself, I say it's silly. So one says, now, being aware from the outer, you must bear in mind what this awareness means. I've come to that, mind has come to that point.
Can we work through a practical example of where the breakthrough occurs? For example, you react with shock to a short skirt, and the first level of awareness is your awareness that you are reacting with shock. Go back a step farther and you say, well, I'm reacting with shock because I've been told that women should wear long skirts.
Yes.
Awareness.
Yes.
Does the final breakthrough come when you no longer...
You're going to find out, you see, you want to know already before it... Good Lord.
What she means, that it's an infinite process, going on and on and on, just because of that, because of that.
No, I'm coming to something else. Have little patience. Can I break through? Can the mind shatter through this?
To put one's attention to the moment, what's happening, takes a great deal of energy. And often the energy is tied up with things that are going on that can't be released or aren't released. How does one get one's energy free into that moment and then the next
Wait,
moment?
that's very simple, isn't it? We waste energy through conflict. That's the principal drainage of our conflict. of our energy. I like and I dislike. This is right, this is wrong. I must be that and I must not be this. So there is this duality, this opposites, that is always breeding conflict and therefore always wasting energy. And when this wastage of energy comes to an end, you have plenty of energy.
Doesn't it take energy to stop the conflict?
No, to stop anything is not to learn about it. To say, well, I'll suppress anger is not to learn about anger. And the more you learn, the greater the energy. Of course, one has that peculiar energy through conflict. Like, some of the modern writers, they are so contradictory in themselves. That very contradiction gives them a certain quality of energy. And if they have that capacity to write, they use that writing to express their energy. But it's born out of this conflict. So that's where we are. Let's come back to the point. I have learned, the mind has learned by being alert, aware to the outward things and its reaction to it, and it has learned that its reaction is background, and so on. And now it has come to the point when it says, I'm caught in this trap. Now begins the difficulty. The real difficulty now begins. Is the trap, is the circle different from the mind which has been caught in the past? Right? I don't know if you're following all this.
What do you mean by the circle?
Circle being my conditioning, the responses, the Victorian background, all that is the past memory.
There was something that was looking at all that.
Yes.
trying to understand
So
it.
is the looker, the thinker, different from the thing it has discovered? Now begins the difficulty. You follow? Unless you do it, you just remain on the verbal level.
When I have done that, I think I know what you mean. Like, the only conclusion I can come to, the only thing I can think next, is that there's no way for me to know.
No, sir, please, just a minute. You can't think. When you see something, is there thinking? Oh, this is, you see, you're not used to all this.
As I'm looking, then I'm not different. In the moment I'm looking. But after it's over and I've just looked at it, then I'm different from it.
Yes, that's right. I'm looking. I'm looking. So that is the observer different from the thing he observes? Is the vicious circle, we know what we mean by that vicious circle, is that vicious circle, or that we won't even use an adjective to describe that circle, when one is aware of it, is the entity who is aware of that circle different from the circle? Yes, sir.
Just as a suggestion, I would tend to say no, because this is certainly at the level of not only consciousness but self-consciousness, and that to me involves the fact that what is being aware, or the observer, does not have a content of its own.
Wait, I'm going to find out. Don't stipulate, don't state anything as definite. Then I'm lost.
I was just suggesting
That question is a wrong question, therefore I'll be caught in it. Now I want to find out when the mind looks at that circle and all the content of that circle, is that mind different from the thing it is looking at or it is describing? Knowing the word is not the thing, the description is not the described. Am I caught in the description? Is the mind caught in the description in the word? Please, this requires a great deal of inquiry. It isn't just an acceptance or a supposition. So, is the mind merely the word, merely the description, and accepts the description and the word and separates itself from the circle? I don't know if you're following. And therefore it says, I am different from that.
Are you asking the question in the same way that you ask the question, when I look at a tree, is the observer different from the observer?
Yeah.
Are you asking the question, when we go a step further inward and the mind looks at the vicious circle, is not the mind the vicious circle? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's right.
Does that also involve seeing yourself seeing?
Huh?
Looking at yourself seeing, watching yourself make vision.
No, sir, keep to this simple thing. Don't introduce other similes, other factors. Just keep to this little bit.
What I propose is another suggestion, that somewhere it's necessary to find some unity of apperception. Otherwise, you could infinitely postulate different consciousnesses, or
I'm not postulating anything, sir. You see, I'm not interested in postulating. Here it is. I have learned so far that the mind is caught in this circle, right? And I know nothing else. I don't postulate, I don't suppose, I'm not looking for freedom. I know nothing. This is only I know so far. And I say to myself, and mind says to itself, by Jove, can I break through this? That's all.
with no preconceived method of doing it.
Because if you have a preconceived method of doing it, it is born of your conditioning. So I'm back again, caught in the method. I don't know if you...
One can't even ask, can I break through with this? Because if I ask that, I suppose that I'm different with this.
Yes. So the problem then is the circle different from the mind itself? How can it be? Because thought has created this, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh?
Remember it.
Thought, which is memory, response of memory, experience, knowledge. So thought has built this circle. And can thought go beyond itself. I'm putting it differently now. Right?
There are certain types of experiences that aren't like thought. They're different.
What?
There are certain experiences that aren't
Please,
thought.
please. That's not the point at the moment. That's not the point at the moment. We are concerned with this one thing. We are learning about it. Any other assumption that there are states when there is no thought, etc. I say, please, don't bring that in for the moment when you're looking at this whole phenomena. Obviously there are other phenomena. May be true or may be induced by thought. I don't know, this is quite good.
It seems to me rather obvious that thought can't go beyond itself, because it's like lifting yourself by your bootstraps. I mean, you can't do it.
So what does thought do? Thought has created this circle. Thought has built the whole structure of conditioning, and thought says, I must now find a meaning to this conditioning. And thought also asks, can I go beyond it? Right? And when it asks, can I go beyond it, it separates itself from what is, and therefore it's asking a method to go beyond it. Right? So all that is implied in that. So the question then is, if thought has created all this, and it has, as we have seen, then can thought come to an end? Not neurotically, not in abstraction, not kind of say, well, I'll go into deep meditation to silence the mind and all the rest of it. That's no meaning at all.
So we're still at the point where we're asking whether this is different from that which is looking at it.
And we
So
say,
why do we ask if thought can come to an end? That's another question.
I've assumed that you've gone further. Sorry. The mind has lived in thought. It has produced thought. And it is caught in thought. Thought being memory, response of memory. Memory, which is knowledge, experience, which is essentially the past. Right? And thought is the past. Mind is the past. If the mind lives there in the past, it is everlastingly a slave to the past. That may be the final end to the mind. It can't break through. Therefore, the mind can never see anything new. It may deceive itself to think that it is seeing something new. I don't know if you're interested in all this. So, the mind asks, can this whole phenomena of thought come to an end, stop? Can I look at that tree without thought, without the image which I have about the thought, the autumnal leaves, the color, just to look?
What age do you think you can place an age conditioning of our whole life. So it would seem that the younger we are, the less conditioned.
Oh no,
So a
no,
child
no.
looking at it doesn't have to
No, no. Now, please don't bring in the child. We are not children. At least we're supposed to be fairly mature. So if you take the child and go back, we are not dealing with yourself. We are dealing with ourselves, not with the child. Yes, sir.
When you ask the question, can I look at a tree without thought, aren't you asking, can I look at the tree only with my senses, this, right here at the periphery of myself? But in asking that question, you have to ask questions that go deeper.
I have asked.
But see, let me continue. We can't deny.
Huh?
We can't deny that the mind biologically registers the senses.
Agreed, sir. Agreed. That's obvious.
All right. Then when we're asking the question, can I see only with the senses? We're also asking, can I see with the senses which are connected to the mind?
Yes.
We're not asking a simple
No,
question.
no. I've related all this. I've gone into all this.
He didn't say, can we see only the senses?
No, but when I said that when we look at a tree and see only the colors and don't think, that implies that we're looking only with the senses, doesn't it?
Not necessarily.
Well, how else can you
Well,
see color?
You might be looking with everything, but it may be quiet.
Well, I'm not familiar with.
All right, so let's go back to the tree. I was trying to let us see. We've come to a certain point. It's not logical, analytical, but where it is so. Now the mind is asking itself, can thought stop? Thought is time. Yes, sir.
I don't agree that thought can even be measured by spatial or temporal boundaries. Therefore, whether it can stop is a very hard question.
Huh?
Therefore, whether it can stop, does that not imply a temporal boundary set to something that is...
No, I'm just
spiritual?
seeing, sir, I'm learning. I'm just seeing that thought has created all this. Hmm? And thought, further inquiry by thought is completely useless. Right? So thought is aware that is creating this thing. So thought itself says, can I come to an end? Huh? Can this moment, can this phenomena of thought, you follow the past always repeating itself in different ways or modifying itself in different ways and so on, can thought say, wait, I'll just see, let's look.
Is this what you meant on Friday when you said that something to the effect that people are too concerned? They should. It's sham words. It's not. It's silly to be concerned with your identity when identity could only be, in this sense, the sum of the past, the things that you knew in the past, and that since what is always changing, it would be just be too concerned with identity would be trying to narrow something down in your mind.
No, sir, no. May I suggest something? Let's forget what I said on Friday. We are taking this as though anew. We are now asking ourselves, the mind is asking ourselves, since thought is responsible for this circle, you are not here at the beginning of it, so I'm sorry I can't go back to it. We are using now, we have come to a point when thought says, is thinking a way out of this? Thought is asking itself. I'm not asked. Thought is not separating itself. Thought says, I can't do anything anymore. Because whatever I do is of the past, right?
Have we gotten past the point of asking if the thought is the same as the circle? Have we said that it is?
Haven't we? Thought is, so, thought is the past, isn't it? There is no new thought. Thought can never be free. Thought is always bound to the past, is slave to the past. Past is its shadow. Put it any way you like. It is there. So thought says, by Jove, can I stop?
By being submissive to the thoughts?
Pardon?
By being submissive to the thoughts?
No.
By letting the mind or receive the thoughts without submerging them back down, to hold one's attention to that moment. It's almost like looking at a screen and the thoughts come and go.
Look, when there is thinking, the thinking is the response of the past. Huh? So thought is responsible for this circle. Huh? And so thought says, can I stop? Can I come to an end? Can I think anew? I can't. I don't know if you're following all this.
So, as long as we've reached the question, can thought stop? Can we pursue the question, can there be awareness without thought?
That's what I'm leading up to, sir.
All right.
Patience, avanti.
So as you go through this and you unravel it each time, each discovery we're making about that unraveling thing, you always come to that point where that thing is reached. Can thought stop? And that right when you get there, it seems to stop. When if you don't have any memory at all that can condition that thing.
Go slowly in this this very complex thing. Don't come to any conclusion yet. You see, are we analyzing? You said layer by, step by step unraveling. Are we analyzing, or are we seeing the thing as is, which needs no analysis? I wonder if you see this. The analytical process not only involves time, but also it involves a very clear analyzer, right? I refuse to go to any professional analyst. I don't want to depend on an analyst for me to tell me what I think, what I should think, what I should think. I want to understand it, you follow? I want to find out for myself. So I ask, is that the way to understand anything? And through analysis? Pardon?
What we're trying to come to is the process or the way we understand
Why should you give name to anything I don't know, but that's irrelevant for the moment.
Wouldn't we have to continue to search then for who we are or what we
No,
are?
madam, no, madam. Écoutez, not at all. We have done that.
I don't mean by analyzing, I mean like just being aware in the moment too. What happens inside and then the responses.
Look, thought has created this awful mess in the world. Thought has brought about wars. Thought has divided people into nationalities. Thought has constructed an edifice which it calls religion, with its saviors, priests and popes and archpopes, all the rest of it. It is thought. And thought has divided through religion people. You are a Hindu, I am a Christian, somebody else is a Catholic, somebody, and so on, so on, so on, so on. And we are using thought to bring about peace in the world. Right? And thought is responsible for the war. Can thought, which is responsible for war, will it be also responsible for peace? I don't know if you follow.
I always was under the impression that thought came out of feeling. And if you have bad feelings, you generate bad thoughts.
Is there a feeling without thought?
No, I mean, talking about nationality, for example. Think about the Germans who think bad thoughts about them.
No, why?
It's because you don't see the Germans as people.
Yes, Germans have killed about, the Nazis have killed about 10 million people, and the Russians have killed about 20 or 30 million people, and previous to the Attila Huns, they were all apparently man has killed man. Right?
Did you say this comes from thought?
Doesn't it?
I don't know.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, maybe that's just the existential state of man because of, the way humanity developed.
Has it, is that the way to evolve, killing each other?
Well, just where they went wrong. I mean,
We're showing that man.
But I think the bad feeling, whatever it was that started this,
Now wait a minute, sir. Look.
has been reinforced.
Look.
Perpetuated.
The Nazis hated the Jews, and they wanted a scapegoat. You know, all historical bit. That's anybody who was not an Aryan, whatever that may mean, was a monkey, killing.
That's just putting a word to their hatred.
But wait, that hatred, how does hatred come? How does hatred come, that feeling?
What could you say about a tribe that killed another tribe for want of food, or something that was totally biological?
That's what's going on. Instead of killing one tribe because we want food, now we kill one tribe for an ideological reason.
Yes, that's what we do now, but
Originally it was
originally
biologically.
tribes had fought, but they didn't kill for thought.
Territorial rights and sexual rights. For those two reasons, people killed.
They also killed
Like the animals, like the birds and so on, they said, this is my territory, don't enter it.
But was it really the killing for the concept of territory, or was it the killing for an immediate physical need for food?
Which is territory.
But it's not thought.
But not at the basis. At the basis, it's not. The thought has grown out of the.
No, sir, but look at the basis, I say, please, this is this space is very small, there are only few animals in there, it's my food, don't enter it. Right? It's my territory, don't come near it. Which is my biological need, says keep off this territory. Right?
Yes, I see that that's what has evolved. That's what's come out of the original biological need.
That's it. So now we have grown into such sophisticated level of saying, well, ideologically this is my country, my interests, my economic expansion and all the rest of it, don't enter it. We'll fight you. And the Russians say the same, the Chinese, the Hindus, the Muslims. Back again. So thought has divided this, right? So thought breeds hatred.
Does this mean that animals are capable of the same thought that leads to conflict that humans are?
No, okay, no. Let's leave the animals. So for God's sake, don't. You see, you're going on.
Really, then we're back again to can thought get rid of the thought? Can
No,
thinking get rid of
one perceives, mind perceives how thought throughout the world has created the appalling mess in relationship, in everything it has touched, that torture it has brought, right? Sex, pleasure, desire, everything it has made into such complicated, messy stuff. No?
Yes.
Is there anybody who disputes this fact?
What you're saying is that our emotions, all our feelings, everything else is distorted by all of this.
By thought, of course. So now, please let's proceed further, otherwise we'll just play around this. So one asks, the mind asks, or thought asks itself, I have learned about this. I have seen this happen in the world because of thought. Now thought says, can I come to an end and look at the whole thing anew? No? I'll forget I'm a Jew, I'll forget I'm a Hindu, I'll forget all that rubbish.
Can't you come to that conclusion through thought?
Beg your pardon?
Can't you come to that conclusion through thought?
Can't you come to that conclusion through thought?
And then what? If you have come to a conclusion through thought, then what? Man has said this dozens of times. Clever books have been written about it. But it still carries on in the same old pattern. I see you. Now, you see, meditation, if I may use that word, without too much mystical nonsense and lot of Maharishi yoga and all yogi and all that business involved in it, just to use that word that's stripped of all its unpleasant or pleasant meaning, to find out whether thought, which has created all this mess, and there is no question that it has not, right? And thought says, how am I to end myself so that I can look at the thing, at the tree, at the woman, at the man, at the world with great innocency. Right? No? And this is where meditation begins. Up to then, it's been fairly clear analysis, learning. It's fairly simple. This one can learn all this with one glance. You don't have to go through all this morning as we did, spend hours to find the very simple thing like thought is the source of all this awful sorrow, mess, misery, jealousy and all that. That is, now, you see, the real meditation begins now. I don't know if you're interested in this. If you're not, we'll play another kind of game. If you're really interested in it, in this question is involved tremendous lot of things. We have said that thought has created this mess. Thought, whatever it does, will be acting from the past and therefore will be still involved in a mess. Right? So, meditation is the way of finding out whether thought can come to an end. Not putting it to an end. You understand? Not suppressing it, not doing all kinds of psychedelic tricks, taking drugs, tranquilizers, controlled repeating mantras, words, all that merely dulls the mind. But to be tremendously aware, as we have been, and asking that question. So that the mind now is highly sensitive to inquire. You follow? So now meditation is not an escape from life, but meditation is the way of life. I don't know if you're following all this.
If we've concluded, and I think we have, that thought can't come to an end, then what is the purpose of pursuing the question? Can we be aware of that thought? Can thought come?
That's merely to quicken, to inquire, to learn, so as to come to this point. Look, sir.
You see, I could see it if we could get everyone in the world to ask this question of himself. Maybe there would be less war and all. But I wonder for the individual thinker, questioner, what is the value then? Once I come to the point, can thought stop? Once I understand
Forget
that,
the rest. Forget the rest.
All right, I might as well forget the rest. I might as well stop doing anything else.
No. I have to live. There's a living.
All right, and then I
have to earn a livelihood. I have to go from here to California, and I have to live.
Right, but at least I'll be living with the awareness of this idea.
Not idea.
Of this question.
No.
You must answer the question.
You must answer.
You must answer the question.
We've
Then
already
there's no more
answered.
question and there's no more idea.
You have not answered the question. Has your thought stopped?
No. But,
Find out.
well, I don't believe that an answer can be reached.
You see,
That's the thought again.
you have already come to a conclusion.
Well, I think that the process of what you've been saying and what we've been discussing has made a conclusion. It definitely.
I know. No, it's not a conclusion. Conclusion is an intellectual, conceptual thing. This is not a conclusion. I have learned. Learning is not a conclusion.
Is learning a truth?
Huh? I can't learn truth. There's no learning about truth. Learning, truth is something living. I have to learn about it. And therefore, to learn about something that's living all the time, learning is not an accumulative process. I have to keep on moving.
Well, I can understand that. You see, as far as I would think, as long as I live every moment of my life with this in mind.
I don't have it. You see, that's a conclusion.
It's not a conclusion because I'm not answering any question. I'm just being aware.
Yes.
I'm being aware of this question while I'm living.
All right, sir. Be aware of that question while you are living. But see, take what is implied in it. When will you answer it? When will you say, well, I have found something new?
But my process of living should be the answer to that question, or not the answer, but the process of finding the answer.
No, rather, the process of living will reveal the answer. Same thing, same thing.
But then if we wait for the answer indefinitely, then it
I'm not going to wait indefinitely for the answer. And that's because if I wait indefinitely for the answer, in the meantime, I'm sowing seeds of mischief. Now, you see, this is really extraordinarily complex thing. You can't just say, I will not. This.
The process of stopping thought is meditation, right?
Beg pardon?
You said that to stop the thought process, the answer is meditation.
No, I did not say that.
How do you define that?
I don't define it. Dictionary will tell you definition of it, which is to ponder, to think, to investigate, to consider, to all the rest of it. Those are words to describe a state. But the words are not the state. Are not the state. No, you see.
But nevertheless, we can strive for the state. You should, to be constantly aware.
Beg pardon, I can't.
To be constantly aware, is this a constant state of meditation?
That's right. That's all.
Not just for 20 minutes.
No, that's going off into a room and sitting down and meditating. That's just no meaning at all. But to be aware all the time as you are living. Watching your thoughts, your feelings, your jealousies, the way you say things, the way you hurt people. You follow? All that is meditation.
I was reading First and Last Freedom the other night, and somewhere in the beginning of it, you say something to the effect of perhaps, and this is perhaps much earlier than we've gotten to the point now, but there seemed to be some discrepancy. You said that one should become aware of how one has been influenced to look at things by one's past, by being a Hindu.
Yes.
Well, isn't that to a certain extent saying, or is that saying like looking at your past.
That's right, sir.
So in this sense, looking at your past isn't, well, there's a connotation that I catch here many times of that living in the past. Living in the past is that's thought. That's not meditation. That's not,
No, sir. No. We are the past. We are living the past.
I'm not sure I follow you there.
The past acts through memory, through prejudice, and the past is living, nothing else is living.
But
And there's a difference between living in the past and looking.
that's what I meant. But you're talking about looking at the past, but not really living.
Looking at the past, not living in the past.
But that's all right. That's
So when you say meditation is the instantaneous awareness of the jealousy, the pettiness, and all that, are you suggesting that we just see those things without having any conclusion about it? Just to see it, not to think about it, but just to see it as it's happening?
What is a conclusion? How do you come to a conclusion? A road leads to your house, and you follow that road, and your house is there. There is a conclusion there, isn't it? That is, by following a certain road, which is static, and the house is also static, right? And you have concluded, if I follow that road, I'll come to my house. And when you come to a conclusion about life, life has no meaning, life has a meaning, life is this, life is that, you say that life is static. All conclusions are static. No? That's all. What time is it, sir?
5 to 12.
You better stop, don't you?